What's up, peeps? We're back again. We're kind of on EQ Might, but we're in my INI files. I've had a handful of people reach out and ask for me to go through my INIs and just like what they're looking at and how to get things to work and how I have my stuff set up. Because yeah, I'm not Warcrime. Warcrime is at like the upper echelon of the game, and so when you open up his INIs, it's like, dude, what the hell am I even looking at? Like here's his warrior. There's all of these ifs statements and tons of life support stuff. And I mean, you look at like the cleric, it's like, here's the buff section, blah, right? So if you're just getting into it, you're just trying to figure out what's going on. I'll go through mine, which is a little bit more simple. Could be more complicated, I'm sure, but so far it works for me. And I honestly, like a lot of this stuff has come more recently because, well, my in the buff section, this is my warrior. In the buff section, well, I have way more clicky items now. For a while, it was like Ring of the Fire Elements, Plains Master, and like Ring of the Ward, right? So as you as your characters get, same thing with melee abilities. It's like I had Trinket of Anger, Bell of the Masterstruck basically, and then his like basic stuff. But then I added Gut Punch, which is a uh, alternate advancement. Anyway, yeah. So it starts simple, and then it becomes what Warcrime is at, right? It becomes that as you iterate uh on top of it. It just keeps stacking up. So I'm gonna run through kind of all 12 of my characters. So I don't know how long this is gonna be. I'm also waiting for a tow truck because my car I think is dead, or so. Yeah, it as I was driving yesterday, I got about a block away from my house, and my engine started making a weird noise, and it felt like uh what I imagine an unbalanced washing machine would do if it was in the hood of my car. It goes "Gah, gah, gah, gah," and I was like, oh fuck, dude. So I turned around and hopefully it's nothing too serious, but we'll see. So I might have to cut it for a second and come back. But anyway, we're gonna start with the warrior and um, this misc section here. I have auto food on all of my characters and food, iron ration, drink, water flask. Basically, how I have that set up is it will eat and drink whenever you need to, right? So you put your iron flasks or your iron rations and your water flasks in like your last backpack in like the very last spot, and you'll eat and drink from that, right? And then what I do is I put my stat food in the very first slot in my first bag. So this golden roasted stuffed turkey is what I want. I want the stats from that. Basically, how stat food works is it's the very first food in your list of bags or whatever. And like, okay. So the reason I have it in my very first slot is because if I happen to loot another piece of food, it doesn't get looted in front of my stat food, right? So it's in the first slot of the first bag. That means any food that I loot afterwards, well, it won't look at that food for stats, right? Because I'll get like pistachio ice cream or whatever, and I don't want that for my warrior, or like whatever these are, ice truffles. I don't want that. I'd rather have my golden roasted stuffed turkey. And if I had it down here and I looted these, then all of a sudden my stat food wouldn't be. Anyway, so I do that on all of my characters. I have iron rations and water flasks in the very last slots of my bags, and the stat food that I want to use in the very first, right? So that's pretty simple. I mean, that's not even I and I. That's just EQ, you know. Um, but if you have auto food turned on, you tell it what to eat and drink, and it will just do that. So you won't eat any of the food because when you eat automatically, it eats the very first food that it finds. So that's yeah. So alerts, well, I don't know. Haven't messed with this. Assist settings, you just set it to melee. However, for my warrior, I am um, controlling him. So this stuff is really for the bots. It tells your bots what to do if they're going to be meleeing, if they're going to be ranged, or if they're not meleeing at all. So like casters. Um, and it assigns. I never actually really. I never. I never messed with these settings or whatever. I either had melee, just this right here, melee on or off. Buffs for my warrior, it's pretty simple. The only buffs that I really have are from clickies. And the so my understanding how these things work, instant buffs are, yeah, obviously instant clickies. They operate and they work in combat, right? So while you're in combat, this buff falls off, it will just use. Self buffs, same idea, but these have cast times, and I don't cast them in combat, right? So it's out of combat. You'll see, for example, like I'll get out of combat, and then my character will start casting Legendary Symbol of the Plainsmasters, which is a proc buff. So any buffs that you wanted to have in combat, you put instant, or it's pretty straightforward. Instant buffs, like instant clicks, you put an instant, and then self buffs are for out of combat clickies. Combat buff here is sort of similar, but you'll cast these in combat, right? So the Ring of the Warden is like a second long cast. So I just have them here because I want to make sure that if Ring of the Warden buff falls off during combat, that I spend the time to click it and refresh it because it's that important of a buff, right? Cloak of Retribution less so, but it's fairly fast, But anyway, cast aura on. So on this server, your characters will get 2 aura buffs if your class has an aura. Warriors have an aura. They get them at 55 and 66, right? So it's as easy as just you put the name of the aura here and cast aura on. So whenever you log in, your characters will cast all of their auras, and auras are just buffs that radiate out, to people in range. So I think the warrior buff is like extra proc rate and maybe some like AC or something. But so I want to make sure that that's toggled on. Melee abilities are pretty straightforward. If your character has this set up, melee, and they're meleeing and they're fighting, um, they'll cycle through all of these abilities. So Trinket of Anger is just a threat trinket. All of these are just threat things. Bellow of Mastrug, Blast of Anger, Breastplate of Eternity, and ifs. I pulled this from Warcrime or whatever, but it basically says this lost aggro ifs. You can set conditions on when to use these. So if I didn't have this ifs here, I would just fire off Trinket of Anger, all of these things on whatever I was fighting whenever they came off cooldown. They would just fire off, right? So put the ifs in, and then you can set down here in the if section what it means to have lost aggro, right? So lost aggro is the name of the if statement, and what this lost aggro then, how you define it is, and I don't even know where you find the syntax that is used for E3. I'd love to be able to see like all of the keywords and stuff like that you use, but yeah. So me, percent aggro less than 100, and if the target of my target, so if the thing that I'm fighting right now isn't a warrior, paladin, or shadow knight, then I use Trinket of Anger, Bellow of the to try to get back aggro, right? If it's a warrior, paladin, or shadow knight, it'll skip these abilities, right? Because you can assume that they're off tanking, or they're those 3 classes are tanking. That's how that's set up. Trinket of the Cobra is another just clicky that I want to use in combat whenever it's ready. And the effect is called Cobra Paralysis. And so what this check for statement here is, check for the buff, they're the debuff Cobra Paralysis. So I don't want to use Trinket of the Cobra if the debuff is already on the target, right? I want to wait till it falls off or something. And then if you have no conditions or whatever, it'll just cycle through these abilities: Knee Strike, Taunt, Bash, Gut Punch. You can put AAs in here, your class abilities like Kick and whatnot, and yeah. A good thing to note too, if you want to turn off lines, you put a semicolon next to them. So, for example, I got Battle Leap, which is an alternate advancement ability on my warrior, and it was buggy as hell. I even got this if statement off of War Crimes thing, and it rushes you forward into the mob, but it like turns you around, right? So every time I'd use Battle Leap, all of a sudden my back would be facing the boss, and I'm like, what is going on, dude? So I just turned it off. It's not like giving me an extra like 10% bit damage for 5 seconds is gonna matter. So I just turned it off. I mean, whatever. Um, Press the attack is another thing that I have shut off right now. What press the attack does is it does a small amount of damage. I don't even know if the damage is even noticeable, but it pushes them back a yard or pushes them back, you know? So what I found was, if I had press the attack going every time it came off cooldown, I was like pushing bosses like, and I didn't want that. I didn't want it. I didn't want that, right? There's some zones like Spider's Den, for example, where I was pushing the boss into weird ground like clips, where like the boss would like clip down into like a weird spot, and all of a sudden I couldn't hit him anymore. So like I wasn't doing any damage, and I'm like, so I had to like back him up. I was just like, okay, I'm shutting this thing off. It can't be worth it. Now I kind of have the opposite thing where my bots are pushing him, but that's for another time. And then I turned off disarm because one, it doesn't really do anything, and you got to be close to him. So I kept seeing that like too far away to disarm, too far away to disarm, and I'm like, okay, I need to shut that off. It's making me crazy. The only other thing to note on my warrior is, and this is going to be the most simple one because you know, I'm controlling my warrior or whatever, but um, pendant. So life support is, it checks you for a certain health percentage, and then it does something, is what life support does. So if you have clicky potions or clicky, like there's heal over times, all that stuff, items like potions or whatever, you can set it down here in life support so that if you fall beneath like, so I have my warrior set, okay, if I fall beneath 85%, and then I'm also checking for these two buffs, Holy Elixir, Breath of Trushar, which are the heal over times that don't stack with this pendant ability. All three of these, Pendant of the Pegasus, Holy Elixir, and Breath of Trushar, are all the possible heal over times that my warrior might have. If he doesn't have Holy Elixir and Breath of Trushar and he hits 85% health, then I click my Pendant of the Pegasus, which gives me a heal over time. If I have those Holy Elixir or Breath of Trushar on, it doesn't click it, right? Because it would just fail. So that's what life support is. You set different health values here, and your character will do something if it falls beneath a certain threshold or whatever, right? So that's the warrior. I'm gonna move on to my cleric next. Okay, actually, I wanted to touch on one more thing. The ability Whirlwind Blade here is an AoE threat thing, and I have it shut off just because I personally like clicking it myself. You can set it so this if statement PV AoE range. Basically, it's like if there's I don't know exactly how this reads, but if there's more than 3 targets, and if the target near me is within 25 yards or something, then what I found was that it was clicking it and mobs weren't in range or whatever. So I just turned it off, and I like grouping mobs up and stuff on my own. So that's why that's turned off. Anyway, so we're moving on to the cleric healer kid. Also to note too, and I've been meaning to do this, like you can cut sections and put them closer to the top. Doesn't matter in what order things are. So I'm gonna bring the cleric important ones up. Heals. Um, so yeah, anyway, same thing, miscellaneous auto foods on, blah, blah. Buffs, it works in the same way. Instant self, obviously, combat buffs, stuff to use in combat. And then group buff is another thing that I have here. Group buff, basically, whenever your group gets a tell from someone that says buff me, all of your bots will go through their group buffs list and cast it on that person, right? So you see my group sitting in Plane of Knowledge, and you find Healer Kid, you tell Healer Kid, hey, buff me, then she'll cast Hand of Virtue on you. So that's what that is. Aura of the Pious, same thing as the Warrior. It's an aura buff. Heals. So this is how the heals are set up for me, and it operates basically the same. You can stick a healing section into your melee DPS if you get healing items, which you'll see later. So you define each of your characters here. Oh my god, this guy is not a tank. So the designations are tank or important bot. That's all I have set up. I think that there might be X targets, pets, but I haven't set those up, so sorry. For the single group, right, you have a tank and then you have your important bots. And basically what these things designate is the level of importance of healing. So tanks take priority over any of your important bots. And then you assign the healing based on the role. So tank heal, basically how I understand or how I envision it in my head this works is that you set a bunch of tank heals, it goes down that list. If none of the conditions are met, then it goes to the important heals section. And then it goes through that, and then it rinses and repeats over and over and over and over and over again, right? So the tank kit is the target for tank healing. So it goes through all of the different tank heals that I have here, and each of these tank heals have a health percentage condition set to them. So I start, if my tank is at 20 or lower, then she will use Divine Arbitration, which evens out the health of the whole group, right? So that's an oh shit, tank's about to die, click this real quick, right? It's like an instant cast. You can use the Cleric 1.5 epic as well in this place, but I have it like, okay, if the tank's health is less than 20, then do this, right? If it doesn't, then it skips that one and it goes, okay, is the tank's health 30 or less? If it is, then okay, use Burst of Life, which is another AA, like instant. If the tank's health is 35 or less, then use Pious Remedy, right? So if it uses the 20 or less, it's going to skip over 35 or less because that's going to heal him or whatever, right? So that's kind of how tank healing works as you get higher. If you look at my new healer, well, I have now that I know more, but basically up until tier 8 or whatever, I had like one heal in there, and then I started started adding things to it to make it safer. Because if the tank's at 20%, you don't want her casting complete heal. You know what I'm saying? He's just gonna die, right? So you want to use the quicker heals, the lower they are, right? So the two instant ones are 20 and 30. 35 is Pious Remedy, which is like a 1.5 second cast heal. The 75 or less, basically, this is an item, Legendary Ancient Frozen Blue Band, and you get another blue band of the Oak, that you can click at 60, but basically all the blue bands are the same. They do a group heal, instant click group heal, and they have like a 30-second cooldown. So they come off cooldown really quick. I have it up at 75, so she just clicks it whenever it's off cooldown, right? Ultimately, because it helps keep the rest of the party alive. It keeps them topped off, and you really want to click that thing since it has such a low cooldown. You don't want to go more than 30 seconds without clicking it, because then it was a waste of a cooldown, right? So I have it at 75 so that she clicks it fairly regularly. Holy Light at 80, which is like the 3-second cast or the 3.5-second cast heal. So she's casting Holy Lights, occasionally clicking a ring, right? And then if the tank takes a huge amount of damage and gets tanked, she does a quick cast, right? Real quick. And then she goes back to doing the slow heals, right? So that's kind of how this is set up. Important heals, I just have the quick heal set to any time the rest of the party falls to 60 or lower. She just throws a quick heal on them. And then hopefully like the blue bands will top them up over the next minute or so. And then there's a heal over time slot here. So I have the cleric has a holy elixir. Or all healers have like a heal over time. And so I have it I have that set here. So if they fall below 95% health, to just throw a holy elixir on. Okay, we've started combat. I want you to make sure that this tank, and you set who gets healed right down here. So you can't forget about this setting too. You want to make sure that you have so who to heal, tanks, important bots, X targets, pets, party, all. Yeah, I don't have the party or the pets or the all set up, but this says, okay, go through these healing regimens or whatever. Go through tanks, important bots, X targets, pets, party, blah, blah, blah. Now, who to heal over time, who to hot, I just have it set to the tank. I don't want her throwing off a 900 mana heal over time on a random bot that dipped to like 95%. No. She can use the rings to heal up everybody else, right? So she's only healing the tank. Whenever the tank falls below 95, so if he's between 95 and 80, she will heal over time him. If he's below 80, then she's gonna do, or sorry, if she's below 80, then she's gonna do one of these other ones. Below 80, okay, Holy Light. Below 75, this 35, So if he's between 80 and 95, give him a heal. Give him a heal over time. That's that. The cure section is straightforward. You set what you want to cure certain ailments, right? So disease is set to pure blood, poison counters is set to pure blood, and then this little gem slot, that is what gem you want this spell memmed to, right? So 1 at the top, 12 or whatever at the bottom. So pure blood is in gem slot 7, and that's for poison and disease because it does both. And then curse counters, remove greater curse, which is in gem slot 5. So if you look at my healer, who is logged out, I should have noticed that too. But you separate different conditions with the backslash, and then you define each condition with the the vertical slash or whatever, right? So I had it up here, so you can see Pious Remedy it's in gem slot 1, and heal if the tank is below 35. So you can see there's 3 conditions here. This spell, this gem slot, this health percentage. Same thing here. So if I load up my healer, you'll see Pious Remedies in gem 1, Holy Lights in gem 2. Whoops. Holy Elixir is in gem 3. Gem 5 is Remove Greater Curse. Pure Blood is 7. So if you look, yeah, here it is. Pious Remedy, Holy Light, Holy Elixir, Remove Greater Curse, Pure Blood. Right, so if they're not up, then she will memorize them and put them in that slot. Okay, I think that's everything for this character. I do have her, oh, she has some nukes set up, so she has a couple of items that she clicks, 4 of them. So I have them under the nuke section, so as she's healing, she'll throw out her instant click. And all of these are instant, basically, so she just throws in a little bit of extra damage. It's not like, yeah, but then you set them under this section, nukes, main equals, whatever the item name is. And debuff on command. This I haven't been able to get working for this particular item, but in theory, what it does is I have a button that says /debuff. So /debuff is the command. When I type /debuff on my tank, any of my characters that have something in this debuff on command slot or section will start casting their debuffs. So you'll see when I look at my shaman, he has more than just one thing. He has like a mallow and a slow and the cripple effect or whatever. Let's see, what else does she have? Under life support, she has legendary fabled Blood Ember Greaves, which is feign death. So if she ever falls below 45 health, she clicks feign death. I wanted to make it so that if she gets 100% aggro, but I couldn't figure out how to do it. So, because I think life support is just the health percentage. Ooh, my life's getting low. Better feign death. The only issue with that is that she's the healer, and she feign death sometimes, and then nobody's healing. So, yeah, that's kind of rough. It's like, yeah. The res section here, I just have auto res on, which means if she has the time to, she will res other characters that have died, and she just clicks her epic. So, yeah. So that's it for. Oh God, what have I done? Let's move on to my shaman. Shaman's going to look very similar to my healer. So more buffs, as you're well aware. So the instant clicks are the same, self buffs. Yeah, these are all just items. Combat buff. These are all items that he will click in combat, and then you can select who he's targeting. So this is a tank buff, Artifact of the Sloth. It gives my tank a song that makes things get slowed when they hit me. So it's important for just the tank to have that. Artifact of the Leopard is a melee buff, and there's like 50 different versions of this buff. So it's checking for all of these other buffs, all of these other versions of the buff that are better than it. So if my characters have it, he doesn't bother clicking it. If they don't have it, then he clicks it, and it's an AoE, just an AoE talisman is what effect is what they're called, which just hits an area. And he checks any class that isn't a cleric, druid, shaman, necromage. Yeah, so it's just a melee buff. And then it checks, I would imagine, G's group bots. So it goes through anybody in the group. Artifact of Savagery, combat buffs. Yeah, these are all buffs that go in combat. Same thing at the Artifact of the Leopard. Combat buff, Legendary Frozen Staff of the Mystic is just a rune that he casts on himself. Group buffs, here's the thing from earlier. Basically, all of these are items, and so anytime, well, this is a spell, because you can see the gem slot too, but anytime anybody messages Chamois Kid and is like, buff me, he goes through all 7 of those buffs and throws out all of that stuff. So, um, combat pet buff. This will click my artifact if the pets don't have it, or if my pet doesn't have it. I think I have this under bot buff, but I'm not sure it actually does anything, but it's the same exact thing as it is up here. Yeah, I don't know if this refreshes it outside of combat. I actually kind of want to get rid of this and see what happens. All right, we're gonna get rid of that. Nobody saw anything. Nukes, same exact ones that my cleric has. These are all clickies, instant clickies. The debuff on command. Once again, Mallows, cripple, and slow. And then this is the first character that has quick burn. Actually, I think my cleric has quick burn too. Yeah, she does. Quick burn is a section that you set up for long cooldowns. So, for example, something that has a 15-minute cooldown, like discipline or an AA or something or what have you. And when you type in /quick, it sends a message to all of your bots to pop all of these cooldowns. So you get like a huge burst. So whatever you want to stick in here, you can command your bots to do if you type /quick. So Exquisite Benediction is like a heal over time. Totem, Celestial Regeneration is like a heal over time buff. Celestial Hammer is like a little pet. If you look at Chamois Kid, Spirit Call is a bunch of little pets. Quick Burn, Talisman of the Fates is his epic, which gives like a 50% increase to crit and like 80% extra crit damage. So basically, you can imagine it. Type in quick, and all of your bots do all of their like super awesome cooldowns all at the same time, and it does like a massive boost in their damage and stuff. Cures, same thing as my cleric. There's the heal section. Same thing as my cleric. I have my bots defined here as tank or important, and then I have the tank heals, but it's the exact same thing as my cleric. He has less like instant heals, so but he has 30 or below. She's gonna click the spear, which is just a quick heal. Union of Spirits is, I can't remember what it is, but it'll do it at 45 if the tank is 45 or lower. Dilute is Mending. And then same thing, the Frozen Blue Band is the group heal that I want him just to click. But my my shaman doesn't start healing the tank until the tank hits 60, whereas my cleric doesn't start healing until the tank hits 80. So I don't want the shaman to start kicking in until he gets lower, because the cleric can I want him to be focused more on like the rest of the group if they need it. So cleric can focus on the tank. But yeah, he has under his heal over time, he's hotting the tank and important bots, right? So he's actually putting the heals over time on the bots if they start dropping. So shaman's there to really back up heal the group, like kind of manage things and stuff, and then um, the tank healer is the cleric, which makes sense to me. There's a cannibalization section here for the shaman. I just have his he starts cannibalizing if his health is at least 90 and his mana goes below 80. He'll start cannibalizing. And this is just an AA too, so and it has like a 5-minute cooldown, so he'll just throw it off, and then that'll be that. Yeah, so that is it for the shaman. Starting to go through these real quick. The tow truck's gonna be here in like 5 minutes, so I'm gonna end it now, and then I can move on to my melee characters after that. Okay, my car has been taken. Hopefully it's nothing too serious, but it was the engine, so yeah. I've had my car for like 15 years, but it's a Toyota, so hopefully it'll survive. I really really would not look forward to a new car payment. Anyway, where was I? So yeah, this is the shaman. Um, let's move on to the bard song kid. So once again, Mist's all set up fine. The buffs here. So um, once again, a couple of instant buffs. Sayanashi's Crescendo is instant AA that he just has on all the time. It like increases, I think, the range of I can't remember what it was, but same ideas. I have so Cello's Accelerating Chorus is a 2-minute speed song buff, and I have it in his buff slot, his bot buff slot. And I think I actually wanted to put /bots here. I think that will make it so that he targets the rest of my party. But either way, I want him to cast this outside of the normal twist window. Um, so that's why I have it up here. Once again, yeah, group buffs, Songblade of Eternal, just in this. Aura, same as the rest of the characters. Melee abilities, I have same as the other characters. I just have any clickies or any AAs here. I also have for him, if he hits 80% aggro on whatever we're fighting, he will feign death. This item has feign death on it, so this is how I keep his aggro low. So anytime he hits the 80% threshold or 80 threshold, he will feign death and remove that aggro, which is a nice thing. Quick burn, he has a ton of cooldowns. And then here we get into the Bard section. And I don't have Mez set up yet. I've never had Mez set up on my Bard. He's never done that. So I don't think you necessarily need it. I will do a separate video on how to set up Bard Mez once I actually get around to doing it. So kind of wanted to put this out because it's been like a week since I said I was gonna. And yeah, Mez section, we'll touch on that later once I actually figure out what the hell. Now the melody section. So you can have as many melodies as you want, and you create the section by putting the name of the melody and then space melody, just like this, right? So I have a main melody, aggro melody, a slow melody, invis melody, blah blah blah, right? Now I have it set up so that my tank commands my bard on what melody he should be playing. And basically how melodies work is it's just 4 or 5 songs. You can put 5 on there. You only like lose a couple seconds from one buff, but I just have 4. And you put the song name, what gem slot it's going to be on, and you just list it as song equals, right, in each of the sections, and that will set what your melody is. And when you have your bard playing through, when you like, so for example, if I say on my tank, I have a little button here set up that says bard main, and it's the command E3BCT. So what that is um, E3BCT SongKid means SongKid is going to say this part, right? There's other commands like E3BC or BCAA, which is all bots will say it. Or you can have E3BCGA, which is all bots in the group will say it. BCT is target character says it, right? So SongKid uses the command /play melody main. So when I hit that, as you can see, let me see if my bard's up. He's not. Let me log him in. And if your bard doesn't have the songs on in the gem slot or whatever, he will mem them. He will learn them or put them on so that he can actually cast it. So here's my bard. I'll just invite him to my group. Let me bring him over here. Okay. So right now you can see my bard is not doing anything. He's not doing anything. So on my warrior, when I click this, it sends my bard the command to start the melody. So you can see he's doing Psalm of Ishan. Song of the Storm, and then he'll so this is the main Requiem of Times first, which is the slow. Psalm of Ishan is the group buff. Song of the Storm is a group buff. Chorus of Mara group buff. Lizard Skin War Drums is an item that he has in his inventory, so you can put that in there as well. And what that is, if you want to turn off the song, I just put /play melody off. So there's a button I have for melody off. You'll want to do that on occasion, like if you're trying to invis through things or whatever. You'll just want to have that. But the drums, where are they? Here they are. Lizard Skin War Drums just has a song on it, right? So I have it. I mean, I have it on my bars too, Harmony of Sound, but it's just a debuff. So he'll cycle through those 5 songs just infinitely. He'll just keep going forever until you change it to another one. So if I wanted to, let's say I'm doing my bard main, so my bard's going through, he's doing his thing, right? Actually, we're hitting a zone. So like, um, uh, God, what is the tier 9 dungeon? Bloodied Quarries. So the trash in Bloodied Quarries can't see through invis. So I have a button on my tank that is /play melody invis. If you reference the invis melody that I have set up, it's his invis song, and that's it. So you can look, he's just playing the invis song. So my characters are all invis now. So that's kind of how melodies work. Really, really straightforward, really simple. I have like a levitate melody, cello melody, invis melody, all these things, and I can issue the command /play melody invis or AE slow or cello or whatever. You can set that up here. You can have as many as you want. Yeah, so pretty cool. I think that's just about it. And yeah, once again, sorry for not going through the Mez stuff because I haven't done Mez yet. And right now I'm a bit devoted on playing my group 2, so I haven't yeah haven't done anything yet. So once I get there, I'll explain it, but I don't know yet. The remaining 2 characters, my rogue here, extremely straightforward because he's just meleeing and backstabbing basically. So I'll pull my melee abilities up here towards the top. So you can see his melee abilities: backstab, pendant of the cobra, fabled Sathir's wand. These are just click items. Twisted shank is an AA. Ligament slice is an AA, right? So let's just do that while he's meleeing. Buffs, same as the rest of them. Ring of the Warden, I have it on combat as well because it's important to make sure that they keep it on at all times. If you don't have it under combat, it will wait till you're out of combat to buff, like if it's under your self buff section. So yeah. I also have his poison, Assassin's Flask of the Shissar, and it applies Bite of the Shissar poison 6. So he'll just make sure that I have it on his self buff, but I also have it in combat too. If it falls off in combat, this doesn't seem to work properly, or it's hit and miss how it works, but really he loses like 1,000 DPS basically if the poison's not on. So I want to make sure that he re-ups it during combat. So that's why I have it there. Quick burns, just a bunch of duelist discipline and venom blades, rogue's fury, all these AAs and disciplines. And then under the rogue section here, super important for threat, you have auto evade on. So he'll start evading, which is a threat reduction ability. It's just basically hiding during combat. So I have it if he's at 45% or higher, he evades. And really, I could do it at I could do it, 25 or 15 or whatever. I want him evading at all times while he's in combat. So that's basically it. Kid Business, Monk, same stuff that we've gone over. Buffs, it's any instance I have, I just have stuck in here. Self buffs, all the same things. Ring of the Warden. Feign Death, I have him feign deathing at 70 aggro or higher. So he can wipe his threat. Tiger Claw, Flying Click. Mend, I have him using Mend if he falls below 50. And really, I should have, honestly, I should have this in the life support section. So let me put that under here. So life support mend. If he hits 50 or lower, then he'll mend himself. Maybe I could do it some lower, like 30. Anthoclaw, yeah, all these abilities. Life support, we've gone over that. And his quick burns here. Inner Flame, Discipline, Xanfi's Whistle, 5-point Palm. I mean, these are just AAs and disciplines, so straightforward. Okay, that's my group 1, my melee group. Group 2, Shadow Kid is very bare bones. My Shadow Knight, yeah, he basically just I'm controlling all of his threat spells and whatnot. I haven't really set him up at all. However, you'll see now with my group 2, all of them have a heal section. So even my Shadow, like they won't normally have this. So you want to copy it over from another character and put it in here. But all of my bots in group 2 have Legendary Prayer of Life, Prayers of Life, which is a clicky group heal that it has like a 3-minute cooldown, I think. So it's a fairly long cooldown. But basically, if the tank gets super low, it's like an oh shit instant click. All of my bots will click it. Or if under group heal, yeah, I have group heal set to 60 and number of injured members for the group to heal. So if 3 characters in the group are at 60 or below, then my bots will all pop their group healing stuff, kind of as like an oh shit AoE. AoE is going off. We need to click this. You can see Shadow Kid has it, Heal Kid has it here, Legendary Prayers of Life, and then same thing with the group heal. Nature Kid has it. Even my Beast Lord, my Mage, and my Necro all have this healing section now because they all have the click from their inventory. So farm Gorinair to get it. It's super important. It's a great thing to have. So yeah, that's my Shadow Knight. I don't think I have really anything else. I've started messing around with Mod Rod for mana. I don't think it's super critical, but you can have in your instant buff slot Rod of Mystical Transvergence. So if your mana is at 45 or lower and your health is at 90 or and higher, then click it from your inventory, um, and my mage will summon it for the group. So self buff, Shroud of Death, Voice of Death. These are my proc buff and my threat buff, and then melee abilities are just standard Pendant of the Trinket, taunt, bash, all that stuff. He does have threat spells, but I'm casting them myself. I don't want to have him automated because I don't want him to. I want to control it, so we're leaving it there. He does have a pet that he summons, Cackling Bones. So under pet section, pet spell equals whatever the name of the spell is, and then what gem slot it's in. This strength and death should be under the pet buff part, and then pet heal. You put same the spell that is healing. Combat pet buff works a lot like combat buffs work for the section. So if you have a buff that you want your pet to have during combat, you put that in there. Yeah, that's basically it for the Shadow Knight. Pretty straightforward. Cleric, I don't think I need to really go through. I've already done it on my other character. A lot of my tunes right now have Kozil's Distillate. So I have my cleric set to excuse me. I have my cleric set to heal over time, tanks, and important bots, but he'll check for either the druid's heal over time, or Kozil's Distillate, or Neurondi's Distillate effect. So she won't cast heal over time on a tune if they have one of these buffs already. So everything else is pretty straightforward. I have the same thing. Divine Arbitration is the even out of health. So if my tank is at 20, I think no interrupt means I'm not sure exactly. I just saw it in Warcrime, so I stuck it in there. But um, Legendary Prayers of Life, same thing. That's the group heal, instant click. Remedy is my fast heal, so if my tank's 35 or less. Fabled Blue Band of the Oak is the blue band, the group heal that has a 30-second cooldown. So once again, I want her firing it off as much as possible. Either the tank is at 75 or lower, or um, as a group heal, I have it at 80. I'll probably put it to. Yeah, that's fine. If everybody starts getting hurt, so the group heal is 3. If 3 characters or less or more have 80 or less, then she'll just click that. Um, so yeah, that's basically it. I have pet heals set up to Divine Light, so um, if any of my group's pets drop, you can set who the pet owners are: Necro Kid, Mage Kid, Beast Kid, Nature Kid, Shadow Kid. So I put all my. I don't think my cleric is doing this though, so um, yeah, well, you take it as you will. But Nature Kid is my druid, and once again, she's much like my shaman. The combat buff here I have is Artifact of the Jaguar, which is that melee buff, so it checks for all these other versions of that same buff, and then it will click it. This isn't a group buff though, so it's single target. So you want to make sure to, if you put the, so checking for this section, if you don't put slash bots in there, she won't target other characters, right? So I want her to target everybody else, and then I want to exclude these classes, the non-melees. So she just targets my, my Shadow Knight, my Beast Lord, and then she'll do the pets as well. Um, the way that I figured out how to get to the pets is under pets. I put the combat pet buff out of Artifact of the Jaguar, check for all of those versions of the same spell, and then slash bots. So what it does is the slash bots targets other bots. If you don't have that in there, it's just going to target her pet. So I put slash bots in there, and I don't exclude any classes because I want every class's pet to have this buff on there, right? And same thing with the pet. There's the pet spell. There's the pet buff or whatever. You put a pet heal in there if you want. Cures are the same, basically, because all of my other cures, I've already gone through that. Heals set up exactly the same, um, in order of lowest health to highest health, right? So if the tank's at 25, oh shit, Chloroblast is 60, Fabled Blue Band of the Oak is 75, and then important heals, Chloroblast, group heals, and same thing with the heal over time. I have it if spiritual healing is on the target, or my clerics, or the distillates of healing, it won't cast. And then yeah, I have all of the characters set there. Yeah, I think that's basically it. For my healers, they're basically the same. I think she does have a quick buff or a quick burn now. Quick burn, Spirit of the Wood, yeah. So starting to get my big cooldowns going now that I have my AAs and stuff. But Beast Kid is my Beast Lord. Um, he doesn't have any buffs going right now, so whatever. I could probably I need to get him his artifacts and talismans and stuff set up, so that'll be coming soon. But during melee, he has his pendants, his kick, feral swipe is an AA. Nukes, I have him set to Blast of Frost and Ice Spear, which are his long cooldown, quick cast nukes. So he just uses those on cooldown. I see he's one life support. I have the heal over time. So if he hits 90, he'll check for any heals over time on him, and if he doesn't, then he'll click it. Quick burns. I got Paragon of Spirit, Frenzy of Spirit. There's his pet stuff, and then here's his heal just for the Prayers of Life. Like I said, all of them have it. Yep, that's it. We'll move on to my mage. Mage, I don't have any buff set up for him currently. I could probably I've been using War Crimes buff, so you could put your you could put your damage shield or whatever what have you in here if you wanted, but um his nukes all pretty straightforward. Trinket of the Drake, Pendant of the Drake, Scroll of Murgle is a item that has a long cooldown, like a minute or something like that. It's just a free nuke that my boots or I think it's my range slot. Legendary Boots of Blade Calling is another free nuke. And then outside of these free click nukes here, he's spamming Seeking Flame of Sukkor after, so like this is health percent 60. So once the target is at 60% or less health, then he starts nuking. Um, so that he doesn't like take aggro, and I just let him do it. Now, I couldn't figure out, and we'll have to see, we'll have to do some more testing and stuff, but I couldn't figure out how to get him to stop spamming his nuke if they were like resistant to fire. So in Temple of Yushan, I realized he was nuking constantly and they were just resisting every time. And I'm like, how do I get my mage to stop doing that? I don't know if this is working yet or not. I have to do more, like, I have to watch it more. But I pulled this from War Crimes, and there's an if statement that he has for each type of magic called use fire, use cold, use poison, right? And it says that if it doesn't, yeah, I don't know what these mean. So if anybody has an idea of what disable poison means or disable fire, I don't know. I stuck it on the end of my nuke, and I'm hoping that that works to get it so he stops casting if it resists all the time. We'll see. Um, Debuff on assist. Oops, that's a War Crimes mage. So I have debuff on assist. He has a trinket that does a resist debuff. So I just have it anytime anytime I have him assist, I'll just throw this off, and I think I have it on like my necro too. But this is good for the start of the battle. Just have him throw off a resist debuff. Life support, he has Causel's Distillate of Celestial Healing, so same thing set up on my Beast Lord. And then Quick Burns, I have his Quick Burns set up. These are the long cooldown things. Heals, Legendary Prayers of Life, I have it set on all my characters. Pet Spell, I have his Epic Pet set, Orb of Mastery. And then his heal, he has Burnout 4 as a buff, and then he has a Pet Aura buff called Earthen Strength, which gives your pet an aura that makes them deal 5% more damage. However, it doesn't stack with Ancient Talisman of Might. So I had to check for these two buffs, and if the pet doesn't have those, then he casts it. Otherwise, when I don't have Ancient Talisman of Might on there and my pet has it, then he'll just keep casting it until he's out of mana. So I got to check for that. Um, that's that. Necromancer. Um, let's see. Everything's the same up here. Dots on assist. So this is basically the section that you put your dots in. So I have him uh, doing his snare epic dot, and then I have here max tries 1, just because I don't want him to just keep spamming it if they can't have their movement speed reduced or whatever. And then it also checks for that buff. Because I noticed what was happening was if, and I don't know, it's kind of finicky, but he was casting it a second time. After it landed, he would do it again. I'm like, okay, I don't want him to do it again. So I have him checking for that debuff. And then I have all my dots set up: Splurt, Pyrecure, Ignite Blood, and Venom Bolt. I actually I just got Funeral Pyre of Kelador, and I'm gonna update this now before I forget. So yeah, here we are. I think I'm gonna just leave off Venom of the Snake, maybe Chilling Embrace. Which one's more mana? These poison seem to not hit. Get off Chilling Embrace. Venomed Bolt. Yeah, so what is it? It's just Funeral Pyre of Kelador. Damage over time. Funeral Pyre of Kelador. Yeah, so you can see I'm gonna remove Chilling Embrace. This is gonna be 2. I guess I could change it to 6 or leave it at 6. So Funeral Pyre of Kelador. This min mana thing here at the end is if he hits 30 mana, he'll stop casting. I don't know if I necessarily need to have that in there. I just don't like seeing my group at 0 mana. I could probably remove it, and I probably should. Nah, we'll leave it for now. We'll leave it for now. So I moved Funeral Pyre because I want him to cast at second. Actually, I want him to cast it third after Splurt. All right, now you can see. I'm gonna run to the arena real quick just to show. That is Akanon. Oopsies. So yeah, that's my dots on assist. Heals, I have the same prayers of life. No buffs right now. Nukes, same idea. I have the 2 trinkets, the Drake stuff, and then Bone Bracelet of Condemnation is this. No, no, it's in his bags. It's Ignite Bones Bracelet. Yeah. So it's just a free cast nuke. Helps with mana, and it's an extra nuke, basically. Here's the debuff on assist Trinket of Terrace, which is the resist debuff. And then life support, I have him doing his Kozil's Distillate of Celestial Healing. It's the heal over time potion, same as my other characters. Then life support, Comatose is Feign Death. He doesn't have it memmed right now, but it's the Feign Death. So if he hits 45% health, he'll Feign Death. Quick Burn, I have Awake the Dead, which is just an AA. And then pets, I have same thing. Got my pet spell, pet heal, pet buff. So yeah, let me show you kind of how this is. If you go to the arena, there's target dummies. Just be aware. Okay, so here's the target dummy, and I'm gonna turn assist on so you can see it's gonna start with his resist debuffed. Here's my my epic. Okay, Splurt. It's immune to changes, so he just moves on. There's Splurt, and since he doesn't have the next spell memorized, he'll load it up. Funeral Pyre of Kelador. Here it comes. So if he's missing a spell, he'll sit down and mem it, right? So there's that one. There comes Pyrocure, or Cruor, however you say that. Okay, here comes Envenomed Bolt. Night Blood. Alright, so he's just going through. Here's his clicky, his bracelet. Boom. Venom of the Snake. Vexing Replenishment. There's his last dot. There you go. I actually can't wait to get an item that has the duration increase. And I actually think I could, but anyway, you get the idea. So he's just going through his rotation now. Pretty dope. Funeral Pyre of Kelador hitting for 435 is really dope. That was a good spell. Slash back off. Slash back off is how you stop assisting. But yeah, I didn't realize when you after I think it's after 45 you stop automatically learning your spells, and you have to level up and then sacrifice one of your levels to go down and get the spells. I didn't get all of my level 60 spells when I did that. So like Funeral Pyre of Kelador was one that I looted, and I didn't realize I didn't have it memmed until I saw it there, and I'm like, oh shit, I must be missing. So I need to go through all my characters and see what spells I'm missing from the spell book and get those. But yeah, damn, I just lost my train of thought. What was I doing? Remind me later, please. Damn, I'm gonna watch it back real quick. Hold on. Right, okay. I remember now. I remember now. I wanted to see because I know I want to get an item that has a focus effect on there that extends the duration of my dots because I think that would help my mana situation and all of that. Now, I don't have any items, but they do have tributes in the game. God, do I have anything that I can tribute? Oh, this is another good thing that I forgot on the Ion Eye. So for my Necro's Ion Eye, he has an Abashi's Rod of Disempowerment, which is a Dispel, a really good Dispel. And I have it set up here under his Dispel section. So you'll want to get a character that gets this rod, and you just stick it under Dispel, main equals Abashi's Rod of Disempowerment. That will make sure that whatever you're fighting doesn't have any buffs, and that's super helpful for haste and all of that. Um, so yeah, I'll have to. Is this Is this anything? Oh. Let me think if I have anything that. Do you have anything that could be worth? God, can't even remember what the hell's going on with my main group. Well, I can just do it hypothetically. Let's go to my Necro, but you can see if you get tribute, you can tribute up items, and you get tribute points, and then from here, I could probably find something that um, extends the duration of my dots. So Power of Suffering, maybe. Burning Affliction is damage. Mana Preservation, let's see. Affliction Efficiency, I think is cast time? Hold on, let's see. Oh no, Affliction, hold on. Affliction Efficiency. Decrease mana cost. So, I mean, I could get that if I wanted. Um, what is it called? Damn. Burning Affliction is damage. Let's see. Detrimental. Yeah, increase spell duration. Detrimental spell duration focus effects. Damn, okay. Time burn is or chrono burn. Okay, so shit, I have to that's Plane of Time stuff. Alright. Maybe there is no thing for it. Yeah. Alright, well, I think that just about covers everything. We'll do the Bard one at some point, like Mez and all of that, but that is basically everything, and I hope it helps you all out there. I have these INIs posted to the Discord as well, so just check the characters channel and stuff like that. But yeah, thanks for joining me, everybody. Hope this helped. Yeah, until next time, peace out.